Yes, it's me. It's the MIC, Craig, aka joined as always by the one and only Peter Nixon. This is TBN Chat, and so on to introduce our next guest. British wrestling royalty, let's be real. Multiple time tag team champion. It's Zak Zodiac, aka Zak Knight. Zak, thanks for coming on. How are we doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm really excited to be on there with you. Yeah, I'm doing really, really well. I cannot complain. Life is good at the moment.
I think now is the absolute perfect time for you to come on our show, Zak. So we really appreciate you finding the time in your busy schedule to give us 30 minutes.
Anything for you, Sam. You know this, bro. You know that I've loved you since day one. And like I said, as soon as I got that message and you said, Zak, I'd like to come on, you find time for what you want to do, right? Let's be real about it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
It's been an aim of mine for a while, so glad we can finally get this going. And
we'll talk about the X Division one in a bit, but they've been talking about the reigns and Mike Bailey's importance of his reign.
There's no denying how big that show has become. As someone who has competed and is heavily involved in that show, how has the success been looking at it from the inside? Like, has it felt like such as a big deal as it does to people who attend and people who have seen the reaction to it? How is it someone who's so heavily involved in it?
Well, obviously, this was our fourth Fightmare. The difference between our big shows is many years come between Fightmare. Our first one was 2001, 21 years ago, in a time where, British wrestling was kind of on its backside, and we managed to draw 2,000 fans. Fast forward 6 years, we're getting 900 fans into the Waverley Sports Village in Lowestoft. Then you fast forward 12 years, and we got just shy of 5,000 in Norwich City Football Ground, Carrow Road. I think that really put us on the map there. As soon as we done Carrow Road, people see that we were drawing big numbers. We went all out. I'm not even going to lie. We didn't even make money on that show. We come out, breaking even, but it was a real statement that, WAW is a big company. We can put on these super shows, and we really brought the talent in. We had every intention of making an annual show, but because of the pandemic, obviously everything got put on hold. But the excitement was really real at the start of this year when we knew, yes, we can actually do Fightmare 4, and we worked solid for about 7 months. Me and my dad, we were the only two people sort of in putting our money where our mouth is this year. We had a lot of help from other family members, including my mum and everything like that. But for me, I feel like we've now cemented a show that people want to see. When you look at big companies, New Japan or WWE or AEW, they've got these pay-per-views that people really want to be a part of. And I believe Fightmare now has that name and brand where people want to be a part of it.
Great stuff. It was so cool to see all the Facebook stories and Instagram footage and that from the show. The show looked fantastic, and just hearing my friends who are at the show, like Tony Purdom and people like that, saying how good the show was. How can I watch the show?
Okay, so we have tried a different approach on this Fightmare. Now, usually we would chuck it straight out to YouTube or put it on our streaming platform on Twitch. But on this occasion, we're actually only releasing it on DVD to start with. For the simple fact of, it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to produce something like this. So we want to put the DVDs out there first. And we're going to be really honest about it. It's a way to try and rekindle a little bit more money. A show like this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a hell of a lot of money. We know that you're going to earn, potentially a little bit of money on the day, but really the hard work don't stop when the show finished. That's when you're really continuing to advertise and think of new outlooks to try and keep rekindling your money. So it's going to be released on DVD. Funny enough, that's dropped today.
All right.
They are available pre-order now with a discount to the first 50 people that ordered the DVD. So go to dowuk.com and get yours ordered now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll definitely post a link to that in the description, because seeing the card, I mean, like, the people who are involved, Matt Cardona, which is like probably Cardona is on such a big run. Obviously, the injury slowed him down a little bit, but he's coming back stronger, and that's a big get. The return.
Are you still there, Craig?
Voice. Everything. Oh, just a bit of connection.
Sorry, mate. We didn't get any of the last.
I'm still here. No. Well, just to recap, yeah, it's a big moment, like I said, with Cardona and Saraya returning, and people will want to see that show. So the link will be in the description, so you can go and get that.
I appreciate that, Craig. To be honest with you, Craig, on this one, it really was trying to reach out to the fans of Great Britain. And I think we've done such a good job this time that, we have people traveling from Italy, Australia, America, all of Europe. They traveled all around the UK. I really feel like we put together a card that everyone wanted to see, whether you're a fan of wrestling or whether you are, a diehard fan of wrestling. This was a show that we were trying to really push out there to everyone. And I think that we actually managed to do it this time. As you said, Matt Cardona, King of the Indies at the moment. My sister actually being in the ring. Yes, okay, she didn't wrestle, but spoiler alert, you need to watch what she did do because the crowd went absolutely berserk. Everyone that was on that show is flying the flag for wrestling at the moment in one way or another. So the card we are very proud of. And the overall success of the show, we couldn't write that. It really was a fairy tale ending for us, and we're excited for Fightmare 5 next year.
Oh, right. Any hints of where that might take place? Are you sticking with the showground? Are you going elsewhere?
We are sticking with the showground. The atmosphere that we created inside that building, I don't think we can replicate anywhere, truthfully. So the showground's now going to be the home of Fightmare. I can let you know now that the next Fightmare show will be November the 18th. We haven't put that absolutely anywhere at the moment, so it's breaking news here on this podcast. November the 18th, Fightmare 5, and I'm already in talks with some very, very big names. And if I could pull this off, then we're going to be selling that place
what is
out.
our identity?
Excellent. That is great news.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to try and make the trip down to Norwich for that one. I've tried this year, but the world the way it is at the minute. But next year, it's next fight match, I'm definitely gonna come down for it. So obviously, Fightmare is such a big thing for British wrestling as a whole. As someone who is essentially born into British wrestling as a whole, do you think that it's on its way back up? Do you think it's could potentially find its peak once again? And what's your take on that? Because British wrestling has struggled a little bit, but is it coming back to its peak for you?
Yeah, I believe that British wrestling is, reaching a peak. Whether it's hitting the same peak it once was, it's hard because we had TV back then, which really highlight and make you the star. But as we touched on with the pandemic, I think it just made people miss professional wrestling, even as a fan or as a worker. And therefore, to be able to step back into the ring is sort of give people that rocket up the backside that we all generally needed. And that was to produce at the highest level of your ability, to be in constant competition with the rest of the talent that's in the UK at the moment, which I need to add, there's some fantastic workers out there really flying the flag for British wrestling at the moment. And I believe that, just from my perspective, going into the pandemic and into lockdown was a scary time. I've been very open and honest about my mental health. So, to be locked away when I'm a free spirit that travels an awful lot, I had to think of ways to keep myself motivated, energized, and positive. Because, I didn't want my kids seeing their dad in a bad light. I don't want them to see what, mental health can do to someone. I need them to see that their daddy is a fighter in life. And that's really where this prize fighter gimmick stemmed from. Because I sat with my wife and she was very worried. She said to me, like, how long are we going to be in this? What are we going to do? What are you going to do? Like, I really don't want this to be a second coming of what we had 5 years ago, Zach, where you had that nervous breakdown, etc. So I got myself into home workouts. The first person I started watching was Tyson Fury on Instagram. And me and the wife were doing these classes, so to speak, together. And when I started getting in shape, I started feeling good. You know, that's one thing I've never done in my pie chart, was be a body guy in professional wrestling. So as soon as I started getting in shape, my wife kept saying to me, like, Zach, you're a fighter in the ring, out of the ring. You know, and I was like, we need to utilize this. We need to think of it as a gimmick that portrays me as just a fighter, someone that will keep coming back, someone that is going to keep just, you're not going to hold me down ever again. You know, no one's going to hurt me like I hurt myself 5 years ago. So the prize fighter, you know, my new attitude, the body, the persona, everything about me was born in the pandemic. And it was because I had that time to really sit down and focus on myself and not the hundreds of people that I have been doing for the last maybe 10, 15 years, focusing on others more than myself. So for me, it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it's mental health. I think being open about it is one of the most important things you can do. So with your mental health is like almost training. Is that your drive and to keep that part of the bad side of your brain telling you to do that? Is that your focus to avoid hitting a low again?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's no secret. I've had many opportunities and I've come short a lot of times, you know, and I couldn't get over that hurdle of failing. I was such a young man, and instead of thinking, well, actually, every failing you're learning, you know, you can evolve, you can learn from what you failed last time and make sure you do something different the following time. That really hit me hard. You know, I was a young man. I had a wife and a child at the time. You know, I had my little boy, and I weren't bringing the bacon home. I was not bringing the money home. I just could not get out of that indie phase that was going on. You know, money was shit. And I just couldn't look after my family. And I felt like a failure for that. You know, I felt like I weren't getting the opportunities. I felt like my job was just a journeyman to go in there and put people over and help people achieve their dream and forget that I was still young enough to achieve mine. You know, so all these factors then sort of mounted up, and I had a nervous breakdown in 2017. You know, and that really was the scariest time of my life. I spent 2 weeks in a hospital bed. They done every test known to man. You know, I was diagnosed with bipolar, fibromyalgia. They tested me for ME, MS, cancer. Like, they really wanted to know what my body just shut down. You know, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. I was unable to do anything. Which again, I think really give me the kickstart to push my body to new limits. I wanted to see, you know, is this mental or is my body actually shutting down from all the bumps, all the trauma, you know, the years in the business? And the long and short of it is, your mind's a powerful thing. You know, just think, the human brain is created so much in this world. Even what we're using right now stem from a human brain, right? So this brain was telling me that I was not good enough. It was telling me that your time is up. You've wasted your opportunity. So, you know, that is my drive now, is knowing that, hang on, I'm in full control. I am generally in full control. You know, coming off all the tablets that the doctors have prescribed me was a difficult task in itself. Going cold turkey for a week on my own in a house without my children, my wife, my family. It was just me and my demons. That was the time when I really sat and reflected and had a stern word of myself in the mirror and said to myself, you're 26 at the time. You know, you're not even reached your prime in the definition of wrestling anyway. People always say it's in your 30s. So what on earth are you doing? Now you've got 2 children. You're on your own in the middle of nowhere, 10 miles out of Norwich. Do you fight back or do you give up? That's the real question. For me, I needed to fight back because I knew that no one had really seen the real Zak Zodiac yet. It's only what I wanted them to see, you know? So, yeah, that's my motivation. That's my positivity. You know, everything is done through me. No medication. I don't self-medicate with anything. It is just keep going. And the rewards speak for itself. And that really is a medication when you're seeing the rewards of your hard work.
That is, it's such a fantastic story. And one of the rewards for your hard work was, you know, getting the opportunity to wrestle for New Japan at Royal Quest in Uganda. I think it was 3-4 weeks ago.
Yep.
Talk about that experience, how it all came about, and yeah, your experience at New Japan and wrestling Okada, Ishii, you know, two of the biggest names in the world.
Yeah, so long story short, I've recently started working back with Rev Pro and Andy Quilden. I had a couple of matches there, but the week before I wrestled Showa Umino, and we had a fantastic match. You get in the ring with some people and the chemistry is just there. You know, we could read each other. The match was good. The story was good. You know, we brought a lot of intensity to the match, which is something that I got told was lacking. It didn't showcase in that match. He was full of it, you know. So I got a phone call the Friday at like 9 p.m. saying, it was a message first saying, Zach, are you available tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, this is from Andy. And I'm like, what do you need? So quick call. I need you at Crystal Palace, 1 p.m. tomorrow. We're putting you in a match. Jonah's flight has been cancelled due to Hurricane Ian, so they wanted someone to step in. Now, he could have put anyone in. He's got a lot of guys that he's batting for, but he phoned me and chose me. And I think it might have stemmed from the match with Shota, truthfully. You know, it's just my thoughts on this. So I then waited an hour and I was like, Andy, who am I working? And he was like, you're in a tag. You're tagging with Tito, and you're against Okada and Ishii. What the? What? How is this just dropped on my lap? Like, are you joking right now? Anyway, I turn up, and I have to be honest, I felt like a bloody megastar. You know, there was a lot of the guys there that had seen the movie. They know who I were. They were very respectful. You know, would sit and chat. It was great to see Zack Sabre Jr. again after 15 years. He was really batting for me backstage and saying to Ishii, and you know, like, this guy can go, like trusting his work and his ability. You know, you'll have a great match. Yeah, so to this day, guys, I don't think it's still really sunk in that you get a phone call to, you know, jump in as an extra, but the extra gets sort of the main event spot. It wasn't the last match on the card, but it was definitely one of the biggest matches on the card. And I just felt so honored. And it really did sort of solidify and give me that stamp of you've worked for this. So it was a real honor and a massive buzz.
I mean, when I saw the obviously because it wasn't released on demand until very recently, but when I saw the clip on social media, I thought, wow, what a moment. Because it's, you know, actually you've been open about your journey, and in that match made events anywhere else in the world just happened to be on that card, and it's just such a great moment. In terms of the match and how it comes, obviously, did you find there to be much of a language barrier, or was there just like a type of an understanding between wrestlers of how you plan this match out?
I think there's always an understanding with professional wrestlers. When you've been in the job a while, you know, you don't need to worry about the language. It's all about positioning, body language, setting up, explaining this, that, and the other. We were very fortunate that Okada's English is pretty good. Ishii's is passable. But the little ref was the star of the show. So the referee that was in that tag match had fantastic English, and he helped us sort of put that across. Now, I managed to get what I wanted to get in the match to highlight myself. But at the same time, there's an old saying in wrestling, is in that first match, you don't give everything because you leave nothing for a return potentially, right? So, you know, Okada was willing to work. In fact, I think if you watch the match, you see that he just sold for me the majority of the time. He just wanted me to get my strikes and stuff in. And then Ishii literally said to me, you know, what's your finisher? And I'm waiting for him to do a Scott Hall on me and be like, what's your finisher? I can't wait to kick out of it, you know, and rib the English boy. But no, he wanted to get it over. I said to him, look, it's a buckle bomb from a razor's edge. I'll run out. I'll give you the sleeper. And straight away, he's like, yes, no problem. No problem. We'll get to hold this maybe 15, 20 seconds. Get the crowd to really believe that this is your moment. And then Okada comes in and cut it off. But again, that was a real special moment for me, that a man like Ishii was thinking about me and sort of passing a little bit of the torch, saying, look, I know who you are. I know your journey. So let's see if we can, you know, leave an impact in front of 2,000 people. You know, all the big guns are there. The president was there from New Japan, etc. So they gave me so much. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it was so cool to see all the footage on social media. I haven't been able to see the match yet, but I have, you know, I bought the show and I will get to it. But you started talking briefly about the movie. Yes. And I know, Craig, you had a question you wanted to ask about Fighting With My Family. Are you still there, Craig?
Yeah, so I didn't quite catch that. Cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry, mate. There was.
That's all good. Very professional, as you can see.
Yeah. Zach, you mentioned briefly about the movie Fighting With My Family when you talked about, you know, walking backstage and feeling like a superstar. Craig, you had a question you wanted to ask about Fighting With My Family.
Yeah, I mean, that movie was so successful, and it's a movie I thoroughly enjoy. In terms of when that movie was released, did you notice a spike in attendances for British wrestling shows, in particular for WAW? Did it really have a massive impact on the British wrestling scene as much as it, because you know that film was seen all around the world? Do you feel like it had a big spike in terms of attendances and in terms of appreciation for British wrestling more?
I definitely think that the movie brought a lot of eyes to professional wrestling in general, not just British wrestling, but wrestling in general. And I think it was highlighted that my sister was British. You know, she was a council estate young girl, and she literally went from rags to riches. So, you know, yes, I felt like I put a lot of eyes on, but in terms of helping WAW as a product, obviously, they basically said to us that it would be released, you know, March 2019, which it did. But they then had a year where it was circulating around the world. So in December 2019, it just reached Japan. In January 2020, I was out in Italy and it had just been released in Italy, right? So it takes a year for it to get worldwide. Then in March 2020, I don't know how many people know this, but I was flown out by WWE to the Performance Center for another tryout. And I had it on good authority that it's time, which is the new slogan that I'm using at the moment, right? So, you know, then when I get there, it's looking good. Then the pandemic hit. Then we had an 18-month, 2-year pandemic, which, again, was highlighted because they get to watch it on Netflix. But in terms of sort of reaping the rewards from, you know, a Hollywood movie, it never really come because we were in a pandemic. So people are watching this. Don't get me wrong. Personally, as a brand, it's helped me no end. My socials have gone up. You know, people now believe in me. They want to see me succeed. They've seen my story. Well, part of my story. There was a lot that was elaborated for Hollywood. But anyone that really, truly knows me know the core of who I am and what I do. So on a personal level, it helped me no end. And to finish off with the question, yes, I believe it's helped wrestling in general because it was the first movie that was actually a successful wrestling movie. People didn't crap all over this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, to be a very, very small part of that process was really cool for me, you know, a highlight of my life. And yeah, the fact that the movie is you bear with me on this, but the fact that the movie's actually good,
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Trust me, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. Zak, I know you're a busy man, and we need to wrap this up. But just in closing, the fact that you've built up your brand and you've improved yourself, and your body is you're in the best shape of your life. You're doing the best work of your career. What's next? In the next 3 years, where do you see yourself?
Well, next year's looking like probably one of my most successful years. I got a tour in America. I'm wrestling in 14 different countries. My diary is probably the busiest it has been in a decade. So things are really looking up. But I'm a guy that wears my heart on my sleeve and just say it as it is. Truthfully, if I do not get that big contract in the next 3 years, I can't see myself carrying on as an in-ring performer. Because I'm all or nothing. I am working, and I'm pushing myself to the absolute maximum of who I am. Just this morning, I've just absolutely grilled myself in a cardio session to the point where I wanted to spew, because I know that I need to be in tip-top shape. I know my in-ring cardio needs to be better than everyone's. So in the next 3 years, I hope that I can complete the full pie chart, which the only thing missing really now is a contract. I've done everything else. I've worked for every major company out there. And if that don't come in the next 3 years, truthfully, I think I'll take a back seat from in-ring performances, reserve my body. I've got 3 young children, which will go on to hopefully have children. I'll be a granddad. I want my body to be in shape to enjoy life as well. But yeah, long and short, give me that bloody contract. I'm working hard for it. I know I deserve it. And I'm something different. They've never had someone like me under a contract before. So versatile, can give him any style, and loves this business just as much as he loves his children. You shouldn't say that, but it's true. This is like another child for me. It's been a part of my life, my entire life, and I really do love this more than the average wrestling fan or the average wrestler.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? The fact that you were born into the business, you've known wrestling your entire life. We can't quite fathom that. We will never be able to get into that mindset. So, I hope it works out for you. I'm certain that if WWE or AEW pass you up, they're fools.
I appreciate that, bro.
Like you said, you're something different. You know every single aspect of the business. But if it doesn't work out for you for whatever reason, you have so much else to offer wrestling.
Yes.
You are the best trainer that I've experienced.
Oh, thanks,
like
bro.
I said, you know every single aspect of this business. And I think you're very underrated in that aspect of the business, because you've got such a great mind for the whole wrestling business, not just the in-ring stuff.
Thanks, man. I know, I appreciate that. And you know what, Sam, this is actually another positive for me. And this is how I've had to sort of keep telling myself that if I don't achieve the contract, it doesn't mean that I failed this time. It just means that it wasn't meant to be. I've accomplished so much in this industry that I know that I can pass down to the next generation and let them learn from my failings. So like I said, my sister signing, Anthony Ogogo, Kip Sabian, I take huge pride in that because I knew I was part of their training, and if I could do that for another 5, 10, 15 people over the next 10, 15 years, then I'm succeeding. So it's not about completely getting that contract. That's a personal achievement. But if not, I have got a backup plan in WAW, which everyone knows. I love this business. I love this company. I've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of heartache into this company. So for me, once I focused on myself for a couple of years, if that doesn't happen, I then got this as a backup plan. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to shoot for the stars with the company instead.
That's it's so cool, so great. It's so great that you're so open about where you want to be and what your aim is. But obviously, want to be respectful of your time. Appreciate you coming on. Before we head off, I want to let everyone know where they can follow you. Obviously, know you stream on Twitch quite a lot. Where people can follow you, find you, watch your streams, watch WAW, the whole thing. Where can people find you?
No, thank you. I appreciate that. So to learn about WAW, go to wawuk.com. It's got everything you need there, including our socials. You can click on there, etc. For myself, I'm under the Zak Zodiac on all my socials. Yes, I was a Twitcher. However, I'm now moving to YouTube, and I'm basically going to be doing a lot of vlogs. So, me travel on the road. This summer I've done 4 shows in one day. And when I spoke to a lot of the wrestlers that are around today, they're like, what? That's unheard of. To me, that's just a normal day. But again, I want to showcase that. I want to showcase how hard I'm actually working in the gym, what I'm still doing behind the scenes that people ain't seeing. So if you go to YouTube and type in the Beavers family, you will then see that I've already got some videos on there of my kids that were keeping us entertained during the pandemic, and built a 600 subscriber following on there. So I'm actually going to utilize that and start letting people into my life a little bit more personally.
I think that's a great idea, the whole vlog idea, because we've seen how popular Being the Elite is. Sammy Guevara's got a really popular vlog, and it would be cool to see that in British wrestling.
Yeah.
The fact that we are doing 3, sometimes 4 shows a day, and just to see every single aspect of that, and the crowds it pulls in on the holiday camps and that, I think that would be a really cool watch.
Yeah, me too. Oh, sorry for just talking to me. Yeah, me too. And this is why I'm going to try it. But there's other aspects as well, Sam. What I do to unwind. I love fishing. Catch and release. I like to just sit on the bank. It lets my brain digest, and I come up with some of my best promos when I'm sat at the bank with no one around me, which I'm forever doing. That's one of the lessons that I've learned during the pandemic is, anything that's ticking in there that you think might sound good, get it in your notes, because 2-3 days later, you might come up with something else. The bit that you thought 3 days ago will fit in there really nice. And that's a big part of our industry now is mic work, character and stuff like that. So for me, downtime, which is fishing or hanging out with the family, taking the kids out, this is where I think of some of my best promos and storylines at the moment. So I want to vlog that.
Well, they heard it. This has been TBN Chat. I've been the MIC. This has been Nixon. This has been incredible Zak Knight. Go check out every episode of TBN Chats, from Lizzie Evo to Ricky Knight Jr. to PJ Knight to Charlie Morgan. So many of us incredible people on the show, and more to come. Until next time, I've been MIC. Goodbye, my friends.
Take care. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.